Good morning, dear children. In our previous class, we had discussed what is friction, what are the factors affecting friction, and different types of friction. Today, we are going to learn advantages and disadvantages of friction and methods to increase friction and to reduce friction.
Friction, a necessary evil. We can easily hold an earthen pot, but it is difficult to hold a glass tumbler. It becomes more difficult to hold a greasy glass tumbler. Similarly, it is not at all easy to move on wet, muddy tracks due to its smooth surface. You must have also experienced that you slip when you accidentally step on a banana peel. This happens because the friction is less when the surface is smooth. Thus, from these experiences, we understand that friction is necessary to hold an object as well as to walk. Now, let us recall some more situations where friction is useful. A teacher is able to write with the chalk on the blackboard only due to the friction between the chalk and the board. Also, we can ride our vehicles on the road because of the friction between the surface of the road and tires of the vehicles. Without friction, you cannot fix a nail on the wall or tie a knot. Thus, friction is useful in many ways. But sometimes friction is an evil. That is, friction is not useful. For example, it wears out the materials like screws, ball bearings, or soles of shoes. In some cases, friction can produce heat. The simplest example is when we rub our palms together for a few minutes, they become warm. You must have also noticed that the jar of a mixer becomes hot when it is run for a few minutes. Similarly, when a machine is operated, heat is generated, which causes wastage of energy. In such cases, we need to minimize friction. Thus, we learned that as there are two sides of a coin, friction is useful in some cases, whereas it is not beneficial in others. Increasing and reducing friction. It is difficult to move a heavy box on a rough surface, but it can be moved easily on a smooth surface. Friction opposes motion and can be increased if the two surfaces in contact are pressed harder. Friction can be increased or reduced by various methods. Have you ever thought why your shoes and tires are grooved? It is done to provide better grip on the ground. To increase the friction, the brakes are provided in the vehicles. As the brakes are applied, the brake pads arrest the motion of the rim due to friction. Do you know why kabaddi players or gymnasts apply some coarse substance on their hands? They do so to increase the friction for better grip. In many situations, friction is undesirable, and so it is necessary to minimize it. You must have played the game carom. We sprinkle powder on the carom board to reduce the friction so that the striker and the carom coins move smoothly on the board. Sometimes it is difficult to open the door. In such a situation, we pour few drops of oil on the hinges of the door, which reduces the friction and make the movement of the door smooth. The substances which reduce friction are called lubricants. Due to the repeated use, the friction between the moving parts of the machine increases, which reduces its efficiency. On applying grease, the friction between the moving parts reduces and thus the efficiency increases. It is difficult to move a heavy suitcase, but the same suitcase can be moved easily if it is provided with wheels, as wheels reduce friction.